Okay, here we are at Studio Systems again. This video is about trying to fix these Soundtracs Solitaire fader automation CPU boards. This is the muting and the VCA board. So the usual problem with these is the battery corrodes, causes hell of a mess on the board and ruins the track. You also get the battery gives off a gas and it gets into the IC holders. So if you can fix them, you're lucky, because, well, it depends how far bad they are really. You know, some get really bad. If you leave a desk in a shed for about 3 years, it's going to get exactly this problem. Now for fix, obviously the battery, you don't need to have a battery in the board for it to fire up. This is the CPU here. The things you can check, well, first of all, check you've got a good at least 5 volts coming in on this red wire, and the black wire is the digi ground. So check your 5 volts on there. I'll just put my so you ground, you get your meter, you put the negative. I know some people know this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. You put your black to ground. I've got my ground on here. You got your 5 volts, your meter probe there. You got 5 volts. You want a minimum of 5 volts, or else it won't work. Well, you can get away with about 4.8, I think, is about the minimum. Right, the things to check are, the things that do go on this are the GAL ICs, which are these ones, IC 14 and 15. Make sure you get them around the right way. This particular one, somebody's blown these GALs and not put a label on them. Normally you would have, the GALs would be marked like that, 14 and 15, because they have to be blown obviously, with instructions. These two here are the EPROMs. I've never had those fail. I mean, they could, I suppose, but you could swap those out with known workers. Now remember that you've got a master board here, and then there'll be slave boards. This would normally be a slave board on the left here. This is normally under, this will be controlling 1 to 16. This will be controlling 17 to 24, plus the effects and AUXs. And then if you had a 32 desk or a 40, then there'd be another slave board on the other side, and that would be controlling 25 onwards. And these links here differentiate between master or slave board. So if they're in the left hand position, it's master. If I move them over to the other pins to the right, each pair to the right, then you would have it as a slave board. There's no other difference apart from the links and the EPROMs. Okay, otherwise you can swap ICs around. These are the RAM. I've never known those to fail, but people say you can get a corruption, and if you wrap them in silver paper, I've tried that before now, but it's never seemed to make a difference. Now the other thing is the this little IC here is a battery management IC, Max 691. You can get these from RS. Some of them I've seen in sockets, not all of them. I don't know why, because they can fail, because if the battery goes short or you get a problem with the volts goes low, it will actually put a hold onto the CPU via this link here. So this link should, LK2, should be sitting on 4.8 minimum, which it is at the moment. If that goes low, then the CPU will reset. I can do that. You can just short out the pins basically, and that will just reset it, and then it will reboot itself. I haven't got any modules in this, but you can see that these mutes are basically working, because that's the AUX, and then you've got the effects there. Okay, so yeah, that max data, check that is high basically, that pin there. And obviously you're going to be looking for any dodgy looking tracks, you're going to be looking for corrosion. If you want to check whether the CPU is actually working, you can get your scope. If you put it on one of these pins here, these are the sort of output. That's my scope there, that's the sort of thing you should be seeing. That's set on 10 megahertz on my scope. On 2 volts I think that is, or 0.2 volts at 10 megahertz. That's what the sort of thing you see, sort of waveform there, and you should get that on most of these pins around here. That's just showing that you're getting some activity. If you're not getting anything there, then obviously it's not firing up. Now this is another very weak point. You see this IC holder here, this is a 90 pin IC. You can't get these ICs, you can't get the holders, you can't get the clips either. Now these clips break quite easily, so there have been occasions where you can reseat the IC, but don't do that unless you really have to, because if you break those pins you're absolutely shafted, because I don't have any more pins, I don't have any sockets, and you can imagine replacing that. What more can I say? Nothing really. I think that's about it. Obviously these this, as I say, is a master board. This is the RS232 link, which basically feeds into that slave there via this ribbon, and then this one will go on to slave board 2. So this is master, slave board 1 to the left, slave board 2. You usually see the master underneath modules. If you take out like 16 to 19, you should be able to see the battery, and also if you take about 3 to 7, that you should be able to see the battery there again. But it's quite a complicated desk, this. These are all the compressor, the ADP. The signal comes through these boards via this sub board here, and the meter feeds come through here as well. So it's all kind of integrated within these two boards. There'll be 3 of these motherboards and 3 of these VCA mute boards. So quite complicated. You have to be very careful with solitaires before you buy, if you're looking at one. Make sure the power supply is working, make sure there's no battery corrosion, or you could get very burnt fingers. There's the the dynamics processor boards there. There's 2 stacked up there. You can get 3 boards stacked for a 40 input. I won't go too much on about Solitaire. I mean, this is it here. It's quite a difficult desk to work on, as you can see. It's not very accessible, and especially these effects return boards. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's a nightmare basically. Sorry about the light. As you can see, quite tricky. You can swap these boards over, but I've had lots of fun and games with these. God, the mutes and so forth, you know, it's real. You have to be pretty thick-skinned to get working on these as your fader. This is just a trackball thing. Anyway, that's the Solitaire. So I hope that's been helpful to some of you, and hopefully we can keep these desks going another 25 years with my help, I hope. And thanks for watching. Cheerio now.